Welcome to Tech News and Opinions, brought to you by JobUp2311. Today you are going to learn everything you need to know about the new iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus. So September 7 came around and Apple announced their new flagship phone. And this year was the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. A lot of speculation and hype was around this event due to many bold steps Apple took. Firstly, let's start with what's in the box. There is the iPhone, Lightning AirPods, a Lightning to 3.5mm adapter, a Lightning to USB cable, a USB power adapter, and documentation. Keep in mind that the Lightning to 3.5mm adapter is also available to buy for $9 if you lose it. Let's now look at the outside of the phones. The design of both the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus resemble their younger brothers, the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus, in most ways. One notable feature is the fact that the antenna lines at the back are not as noticeable as it was on the older models of iPhones. This is an aesthetic change which I could care less about. As far as the height, width, and depth, the iPhone 7 is the same as the iPhone 6s, and the same applies for 7 Plus and 6s Plus. The only change comes with the weight, which has decreased. On the screen right now are the specifics of the mass of the phones. The phones have received new colors. The space gray model present on older phones is now gone to make way for the new black and jet black. Note that Jet Black is available on only 128GB and 256GB variants. More in storage later. Jet Black is basically glossy black, which shows off your fingerprints and any minor scratches. Don't take this wrong, the Jet Black looks very sexy, but I'm sure you don't want to be showing off your fingerprints and scratches to everyone. And this should go without saying, but if you're buying an iPhone, then you should buy a case, considering there have been no improvements mentioned when it comes to the shatter-loving screen of iPhones. The other colors available are rose gold, gold, and silver. One of the huge speculations going into this event were the removal of the home button. It was removed to make way for a new touch-sensitive taptic engine, which acts as a home button and fingerprint sensor. It is said that the new sensor tends to feel like the whole bottom of the phone is clicking. Generally, this is a positive in my eyes due to the fact that I once owned an iPod Touch and its home button got stuck down after 3 years of good use. Another huge rumor going around prior to this event was the fact that the 3.5mm headphone jack would be removed, and it was. The headphone jack is no more as far as Apple is concerned. Apple is now using Lightning AirPods. At first, one of my concerns was that you wouldn't be able to charge your phone and use earphones at the same time, but as it always happens, a dock comes along. I have seen 2 docks so far which have been made for the phone. One is a $49 option which is made officially by Apple, and it contains one Lightning jack as well as a 3.5mm headphone jack. There is also a $40 option which is made by Belkin, which contains 2 Lightning jacks. I honestly like the design of the Apple dock, but I prefer the functionality of the Belkin dock due to the choices of either using Lightning headphones or using the included adapter to use 3.5mm headphones if you like. I would also like to mention it's $9 less. Apple is also pushing wireless audio using their Apple AirPods. And by air, I don't mean like air, the listening air, but air is on the air we breathe. Get it? This AirPod will cost you though. It costs $159 for a pair, which comes with 2 AirPods as well as a charging case. This is a quite high price, but the functionality looks promising and it looks to make life super convenient. The unfortunate part though is that these earphones are pretty small and you're gonna be prone to losing them, so be extra careful unless you have $159 lying around. The AirPod holds 5 hours of battery life in each AirPod, and the case can hold up to 24 hours of battery life. According to Apple, the case can give you 3 hours of listening time with just 15 minutes of charging, which is phenomenal in my opinion. These AirPods also have a built-in microphone, so definitely worth the money. On the subject of wireless audio though, I am a person who completely vouches for it due to the fact that every single wired earphone I've used has some weak ass wires which break way, and I mean way too soon. The fact, however, that the 3.5mm jack has been removed is confusing to me due to the fact that it is reported that the second speaker at the bottom of the phone is not even a real speaker. It's just there. The removal didn't really make way for a new speaker due to the fact that the second speaker is the earpiece speaker at the top of the phone, which is front facing. The other speaker stays where it usually was in the previous iPhones as a bottom facing speaker. This still, however, means that the new iPhones will have stereo speakers, which should lead to some great audio performance without earphones. I also like that they implemented at least one front-facing speaker, leading to less cupping of the speakers to hear better. The new iPhones are water resistant and dust resistant at a rating of IP67. Yeah, I can use my iPhone in water wait, Samsung has had this for years now. To be exact, 2 years. With the release of the Galaxy S5 in 2014, they brought IP67 rating. This aside, the new iPhone can be under up to 1 whopping meter of water for up to 30 minutes. So basically, don't drop it in a deep pool and you should be fine. A huge update Apple brought to the new iPhones are the new cameras. Let's deal with the rear-facing camera first. The new iPhone 7 has a 12 megapixel camera which has a plethora of under-the-hood improvements. The first being that the aperture is f1.8 as compared to f2.2 aperture on the previous generation. This just simply means that it lets more light in, which means better low light performance, and from some initial videos and photos I've seen so far, the low light performance is stunning. Both new phones have optical image stabilization. This was present on the iPhone 6s Plus, but not the 6s. The flash on the iPhones now contain quad LED flash, which means much better and brighter flash. There is also a ton more features which you can either visit Apple's website to look at or pause the video. There is one huge distinguishing feature, however, between the 7 and 7 Plus, and this is that the 7 Plus has dual rear-facing cameras. The two cameras are a telephoto lens camera as well as a wide-angle lens camera. The wide-angle lens is 28mm and the telephoto camera is 56mm. This 56mm camera lends itself to optical zoom. Essentially, since it's twice the size of the 28mm wide-angle lens, Apple has allowed you to switch between both cameras to utilize the 56mm camera when you want to apply an optical zoom of up to 2 times. The digital zoom capability in the iPhone 7, note this phone only has one camera, is only up to 5 times digital zoom, and includes no optical zoom. For the iPhone 7 Plus, however, there is combined action of optical zoom up to 2 times and digital zoom up to 5 times to be able to zoom as much as 10 times total. There's also a button on the camera app which allows you to switch between each of the cameras manually. One huge update of the cameras which bridges the gap to DSLRs even more is the fact that dual camera approach allows for bokeh, which is basically a subtle blur on the object which is not being focused on. Another feature for you photographers at heart out there is that both iPhones can shoot in raw photo mode. As far as video recording with these cameras go, they do generally look better due to the aperture and general improvements, but the options as far as resolution goes remains the same. It can do 4K at 30 FPS, 1080p at 60 and 30 FPS with slow-mo support at 120 FPS, as well as 720p at 30 FPS and 720p slow-mo capability at up to 240 FPS. There is also 3 times digital zoom on the 7 and 2 times optical zoom on the 7 Plus, which can combine for 6 times zoom on the 7 Plus total in video mode. I think this smartphone is more than capable of producing very high quality video, and I think the camera here for both video and photos is a huge win for people who decide to buy this phone. If you would like to take a deeper look at the specs, visit Apple's website or pause the video. The front-facing camera has even gotten a bump itself. It can capture 7 megapixel photos as opposed to the last generation being able to capture only 5 megapixels. This is a pretty sizable bump for people who take tons of selfies, so basically everyone. The recording also got a huge improvement from 720p to 1080p. The remaining specs remain the same, and if you would like to see these specs, either pause or visit the Apple website. In my opinion, I think this is a great improvement for the everyday selfie, as well as for people who want to vlog in decent quality without using their rear-facing camera and being unsure whether they're in the frame or not. The new display of the iPhone is pretty much the same as the last generation, other than Apple marketing a wider color gamut and advertising it as 25% brighter on the new phones. Every other spec including resolution, contrast, and size remains the same. The displays, however, no matter how beautiful they look, will never be able to beat an OLED display, which some Androids have been using for quite a while now. As far as storage goes, 16GB is dead and 32GB is the new base with the option to purchase either 128GB or 256GB models, much needed due to the increasing size of videos, photos, and general media and apps. Now leading to the brain of the phone, there is an A10 Fusion chip with 64-bit architecture and an embedded M10 motion coprocessor. This A10 CPU is a huge improvement in many ways. Firstly, it is incrementally faster than the A9, but it is quad-core with 2 of those cores being high performance to be able to run games and demanding apps with ease. The 2 other cores are power-efficient cores which will be smartly managed by software to load less demanding apps onto it. So generally, not just a more powerful chip, but also a more efficient chip. The mobile network is even slightly improved according to Apple in the means of LTE Advanced being up to 450 megabits per second as opposed to last generation phones being 300 megabits per second. Current LTE networks have not been able to reach this high speed, but it should lead to better mobile data performance nonetheless. The new iPhones also have much better battery performance, partially thanks to the new CPU power management, but also just general battery improvements. On average, the 7 lasts 2 hours more than the 6S, and the 7 Plus lasts 1 more hour than the 6S Plus. Also, wireless charging, not a thing with Apple just yet, so I guess we just look forward to that next year. Finally, for pricing, the iPhone 7 starts at $649, while the iPhone 7 Plus starts at $769. Pre-ordering for the new iPhone 7 has started yesterday, September 9th, and the phones will be available publicly on September the 16th. Thank you for watching this tech news and opinions video brought to you by JobUp2311. I hope this has been able to inform you about everything you need to know about the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. Follow my Twitter if you'd like to get more news, smaller stories, follow up to stories, or if you just like cool tweets. Expect more tech news and opinions as they come.